All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much for joining us today and taking the time out of your day. I know that this is definitely a different time, to say the least. So we really appreciate you, like I said, joining us. And we hope that we're able to provide a lot of helpful resources and information today and answer most of, if not all of your questions. But if we don't have an answer, we'll be sure to figure that out and get it to you as soon as we can. But just to start off, for those of you who have met our team, our Field Play 60 team, or not, we wanted to take a minute and introduce ourselves. My name is Josh Lightman. I am the Youth Wellness and Communications Coordinator at the American Dairy Association, Indiana. I've been there for almost 2 years now, and it's exciting to be a part of the Field Play 60 team and get you all active in the program and support you in any way that we can. I'll turn it over to my other team member, Meg Magsman. Meg, you can go ahead.
Hello, everyone. We're glad to have you together, see so many faces and names that we can start putting together for this program. We're excited to bring everyone together as a chance to connect, get some great feedback across each other, and then share some new pertinent information with as much as going on right now. So I'm glad to be with you. I've been with American Dairy Association for just under a year now, and I'm part of the Fuel Up to Play 60 team working with youth wellness programming right along with Josh, and then Hannah Kelly, our registered dietitian, who's here with us as well today.
Thank you, Meg. Like Meg mentioned, Hannah Kelly is a big part of our team as well, and she is on the call and is a great support staff as well. If you need any tips about how to get your dairy in throughout your day, she's the one to ask. But just to start off, just as a courtesy, make sure that we are here to answer questions. I think the best route for all that is to utilize the chat function and type into the chat window. We will be monitoring that throughout the presentation today and hope to answer any questions. If you prefer to speak through your audio and video on your computer, please feel free. There's also a raise your hand function. And if you click raise your hand, we'll be sure to unmute you to make sure that we can obviously hear your question and help answer it best that we can. And any questions or anything, like I said, that pops up, please feel free to just type it into the chat window and we'll be sure to cover it. And if not, we'll connect with you after the fact to make sure that we can give you all the best information possible. So without further ado, let's see if we can get this going here. So we already went through and introduced ourselves. Meg and I are on the Fuel Up to Play 60 team. And we want to welcome all of you, specifically anyone who's new to the program, and also our returning program advisors. So if you wouldn't, here's your first test, is utilize that chat window. We want to know what schools you're representing today, whether it's one or maybe a whole district. Let us know what schools you're involved in or involved with, and if you have been a program advisor before or are a contributing program advisor currently, please let us know how long you've been a program advisor for. We're excited because we know that a lot of people, we've had everyone be a part of the program for the full 10 years going into the 11th, and we've had some that are brand new, maybe even starting today, maybe just this first year, but we're excited and we want to know who you're here representing today. We have Indiana FCCLA, Evansville Vanderburg School Corporation, East Central High School. This is great. And we're in Brownsburg as well. We see Cassie Brooks there. Cassie is one of our longtime program advisors, has been a part of the program since inception in 2010. So it's great to have kind of a whole slew of program advisors and administrators here today to join us.
What's nice too is hopefully you can see this within the chat too and can maybe put some faces together as well in other contexts as you work into the program or have more questions that you want to talk to other resources. So we thought the chat function would be a great option for you to be able to see who all's participating and here with us too.
Thank you for that, Meg. And I think we'll move on here. We're really interested in figuring out how you've been able to reach your students. Again, this is a very different time but we'd like to hear, what creative ways are you using to connect with your students, whether it's, through Zoom, or maybe, sending out assignments, things like that, and maybe providing them with fun activities. But again, utilize that, the chat box, and let us know if you found any interesting or fun ways to reach your students and interact with them. And then in kind of a two-party question there, it isn't always easy, especially when this is something that pops up immediately like it did. But what challenges have you faced from teaching or working from home, whether it's in regards to interacting with your students or getting them the right materials so that they can continue to enjoy school, learn, and be a part of Field Play 60 as well.
There's some fun comments coming in already. So Brenda shared using Google Meets with the FCCLA students, that's been helpful. Rochelle, hi Rochelle, using bingo boards. I love that, to have the healthy cooking and eating and just being active. So that's a great way to make it fun for the kids to do from one day to the next.
Has anyone, we go back to the challenges that have been faced. Are there any challenges that you all have been facing that, that we could help out with? I know that some of them may be out of our realm of expertise, but I think the big message here today is that we're here to help and support you all in any way that we can. So please share any and all challenges. You never know, maybe another administrator, teacher, program advisor on the call today may have an answer for you that we may not, and vice versa. So please do share if you think of anything along the way, any challenges that you've encountered. We'd be happy to help in any way possible. Meg, I don't know if we have any more helpful tips coming through in the chat box.
Yes, Cassie said in Brownsburg that they're doing some choice boards, giving kids the option of what they want to be participating with, and focusing on the joy, connecting with others, and looking at mental health benefits of exercise. So trying to make that reinforceable. Allison was sharing, having students make and share videos has been a great way to be connected. Let's see, Kathy said the IPS is downloading documents that we've sent over, which is great, and getting them out as additional resources.
Bringing up mentioning the videos, and I know our colleague Michelle Plummer is also on the call. She is another dietitian on our staff and is the expert on all things food and retail and food service and everything like that. She brings up a great point. If you have videos that you receive from your students, or you have yourself making a fun food inspired video, please feel free to send them to us, whether it's myself or Michelle. I know Michelle put her email in the chat box, so we are doing a lot of fun social media posts throughout the week. The go-to for Michelle on Fridays is Foodie Friday, so we like to share a lot of any fun videos. Make sure they're dairy-inspired recipes, but we love to share those out to help other people enjoy cooking or just enjoying dairy foods as well. All right, so today we're also trying to incorporate a little bit of fun, keep you guys on your toes. So we're planning on trying to have about 3 trivia questions. And when I go to the next slide, it'll give you the question. I'll read it as well, but type your answer in the chat box, and we will select the winner, and you'll be receiving some fun items from our Field Play 60 Colts and ADAI stash. So when you see it, we'll have a slide before each trivia question letting you know what's happening, and then once we go to the next one, get ready to answer. All right, so for our first trivia question, which is larger, 1 acre of farmland or a football field? We'll give you about 15-20 seconds here to type in your answers, and we'll see what people think. Both seem pretty big to me. I'm not entirely sure. I've had to run an entire football field. I haven't had to run an acre of farmland, but it does seem like a lot as well. We have a lot of pretty mixed bag there, Meg, with answers.
Oh, I went back and forth on it when I first saw this question too.
I will give about maybe 10 more seconds here. All right. The correct answer is a football field. So a football field is 57,600 square feet, and 1 acre of farmland is 43,560 square feet. Obviously, I did not have that memorized. I had to read it off here on my notes, but kind of a fun way to break up our sharing presentation here today. And there'll be more, so more opportunities to guess. Let's see who was the first one. Meg, did you see who said football?
Kathy was the first one. Langdon.
Cassie Brooks.
Oh, Langdon.
Oh,
Kathy.
sorry, Kathy Langdon. I apologize. Kathy Langdon, congratulations, great work, and we'll connect with you after the call as well to make sure we get you your prize. Now I'll turn it to Meg for the next couple slides here.
Yes, so we appreciate all of you being able to share already with some of the more general experiences you've had to connect with your kids at school. I know there are a few others that came in the chat as well. We wanted to see outside of that too, just as a chance to connect with each other, where you've had as far as trying to connect with Fuel Up to Play 60. Has that been a program that's been easy for you to incorporate into some of your outreach with your students? I saw one of the comments that came through later was saying that some of these activities are optional, but that's been one of the challenges that's come through. But we wanted to hear from the group some of the additional ways, maybe specific to Fuel Up, if they weren't already suggested ahead of time, that you've been doing while you've been at home to help fuel greatness with your students and their families.
No, I know that this Fuel Up to Play 60 program is considered an in-school health and wellness program, but there's definitely a lot of different ways that you can help get your students activated at home. Later on, we'll provide you with a few links to resources that we have that might make things a little bit easier. But anything from having your students get their 60 minutes of activity a day. Maybe it's starting the day with a smoothie and maybe trying some different things in their smoothies. I know that we've had different program advisors around the state do a lot with spinach in smoothies, because sometimes students don't think that it will taste good or don't even think that it would make a good smoothie. And then you have them try it and you say, hey, there's spinach in there. And they're genuinely surprised, and they're able to obviously get a healthy meal or snack for their day. Allison McIntyre with FCCLA talks about having dairy recipe videos, which have been a great way to get kids re-energized about nutrition. That's awesome. That's a great way, again, to keep kids continuing to learn about healthy ways to fuel themselves. And I think that's a great idea. And again, hitting on their creative side as well and sharing with their friends and community. Fuel Up to Play 60 is a great way to get involved with the community as well, and stay in touch with those people, again, during these kind of awkward times of being in quarantine.
Well, Allison, that's a great example too. So I know we received one of those videos, at least, that's come over from the kids that are using food items in their house to create their own recipe, and we were able to share that on our social media as well. That's a fun activity that was easy for other kids and families to get inspiration from, and hopefully a fun thing for your students to be able to see with their outreach going out beyond onto other organizations too. Let's see.
Kathy Langdon mentioned that some of the principals in her school district are sending out morning announcements and making sure kids are fueling up and eating breakfast and getting their 60 minutes a day. That's fantastic as well. I know that we received an email or two about those morning announcements, and I think that's a great way to stay connected with your kiddos. And again, having those small messages about eating right, starting their day off with a healthy breakfast, and getting outside and getting those 60 minutes a day, as long as it's not too cold or rainy or snowy even in April. But that's another great way to keep your students engaged. That's awesome.
I know the snow seems wrong. I saw Cassie had a note about the Remind chat with the Fuel Up Club. So Schools that have it set up as a club, that's a great way, obviously, to connect still with those groups. So that's another fun outreach using the different options in technology. But if we want to go on to the next slide, we do have additional pieces available here that we are glad to share out with the group. So some of this, if you're following us on social media, might be some pieces you've seen. Others are newer that we wanted to pass along. At the end of this chat, we'll be sure to share this whole PowerPoint series with everyone so that you can activate these links and have access to them easily. But the first one is using our website. So we have a family resources page that we've started here in the last month that has a lot of great additional information broken out by different kinds of content. So we've got coloring pages. We even have a trickier one for older kids that they might get a kick out of doing, cooking lessons. Fun for the adults, we do have some cocktail recipes as well, knowing some days it takes more than others. But great resources there, activities that you can do as a way just to add some additional options to your list of ideas and suggestions. So we would absolutely encourage you to go to our website. We're posting a number of them every day on our website, trying to have some fun with that. So Mondays are movie Mondays, so we're showing some fun clips that families can watch together, things you maybe didn't know about on Tuesday. Wednesday, we're all about getting moving. On Thursday, it's kind of a clever, sometimes crafty activity. And then Friday is our Foodie Friday that Michelle had shared. So if you have some of those activities that are coming through with your kiddos, please feel free to share them, because we're glad to help send those out more and have other people be aware of them, and maybe a great chance to share more ideas among the group. We also have some fun things within Fuel Up to Play 60. Let me see if we can get it. There's a national resource page that was put together that helped go through an outline of activities that can be easily done from home as well. So we wanted to make sure that that was readily available to this group if that's something you haven't seen come through yet. And then the final item was for the Fuel Your Good. This is a new campaign that the timing just seems perfect for this to come together. This was already well underway months ago as a way to expand Fuel Up to Play 60 and to put bigger emphasis into it for more students to be able to get involved. And the whole concept is being able to fuel your good. So making good choices for your body, for your community, and then bigger yet for your planet. So we have more that we're already working on incorporating going into the next school year to make that an even stronger emphasis. What's neat about this link here that you're going to be able to go to, Josh, if you want to, I don't think I can click on it, but that would be helpful to share real quick here with the group. There's some really great opportunities that the kids might have to get some ideas of things they can still be doing at home that's, again, maybe thinking a little bit beyond themselves. So what can they be doing to helping those around them? And given the timing of this, again, it just seems perfect. If it doesn't play nice, again, it's a great piece to look at. It's a single document that gives some of those breakdown of ideas of items that your kids can be doing, whether it's helping to collect food for pantries, or it's ways to connect with other people that they haven't maybe been thinking of before, just to put some thought into what they're doing and making good choices, again, not just for themselves, but for others.
Meg, did that not pull up the
I
document?
didn't see that it did. Does anyone else see it's on their screens coming up? I still show the PowerPoint, so.
Well, we will gladly, like Meg mentioned, we will gladly share this out so that you all have the direct links to this document. But like Meg said, it's a great way to broaden the Fuel Up to Play 60 program, and the idea of, again, like Meg mentioned, feeling your community and the great things that you all do on a day-to-day basis with your students.
Josh, you're welcome to go to the next slide once you
All right.
get through that one. So what's fun is there have been other opportunities where program advisors around the country have been putting ideas out on social media. So we were able to gather some of those, and then just wanted to share for the sake of idea generating that might be helpful for you within your schools too. This first one here I thought was so good, and I've started doing something similar at home with my kids, is having kind of a daily schedule put together. I thought this was such a clever way to make sure it's fun, it's engaging, and just good reminders of basic health and things that the kids should be doing, but then kind of how to schedule out their day, because that can be a lot, especially when there's working parents at home that can't be quite as attentive on a regular basis. So something like this was a fun schedule that was put out, and this actually came through the Fuel Up to Play 60 Program Advisors Facebook page. We have a link to that as a reference at the end of this presentation. But if you're not already on that page, it's just full of other educators who are involved with this program that are constantly coming up with cool ideas. The next one is chalk art. I know that's been a big one that's been going around, but those positive messages were just great reminders of fueling your good, tying into that idea and that concept, and having fun with some artwork and things, especially if it's in a place like a sidewalk or end of a driveway that people might see as they walk by.
Quick pause there, Meg.
Yeah.
Sandy Bodnar said that for some of her students, they send out daily picture schedules. Sandy, could you tell us more about that and maybe a little bit about how that works in the chat window, or if you'd like to share via video and audio, that'd be, either way is totally fine.
All right, hold on here. All right. Can you see me?
You are a black screen right now, but we can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay. We have our special education students. So a lot of our students right now with autism are having a really hard time. So we're sending out picture schedules of really starting with, the daily routine, like they would do at home, brushing your teeth, getting ready for breakfast. We're putting down, healthy foods for breakfast, snack, lunch, and dinner. So they're able to follow that schedule. And the parents are very happy about that because that's the same way that they do at school. So they're able to do the same thing at home, and it really keeps them in that same routine. And then the teachers are doing, video chats with the kids. And so they're keeping up with that and making sure that they're understanding the schedule. So it's really been very successful for us at this time, for parents and for the kids.
That's outstanding. I know that I think for a lot of students, being back in a routine or staying in a routine during this time is very helpful. And just those daily reminders of continuing to do the same things every day is a great way to keep them involved. Thank you for sharing, Sandy. We really appreciate it. I think that's fantastic. Meg, would you like to move on to more of these social information from around the country?
Yes.
Let's see.
This other comment that came up was just pretty funny, how one of the teachers got a kick out of it, that the students were sharing how they've been reading their book once a week instead of more than that. I think the regular teachers would have appreciated if this child was more interested in reading more often than that, but they knew how important it was to get a 60 minutes of activity every day. So just a fun reminder of sometimes you just don't know what's going to sink in and click with the kids, but if they can have some of those messages and reminders, how helpful that can be. The other one obviously being a food drive, which I know a lot of your schools and programs are right in the thick of making sure that your students are still getting those food and resources that you have. If by chance you haven't heard already, or perhaps hopefully your food service team has, we've been in touch with food service directors around the state as well. In fact, we have a webinar coming up here at 3 o'clock as well. But there are additional resources. So just kind of within that vein, if there's areas where your school needs additional service or support, please know that that's something else that our team is glad to help see how we can best help or support you or reconnect you with more resources there too. So that's a nice part about our office is there's 9 of us, but we have a really broad scope of how we can be of assistance beyond even the Fuel Up program. All right, if you want to go to the next screen then, Josh. I think the next one goes right into like similar to the announcements. I've seen a number of schools that have even been doing the videos that have been going around that have been teacher led, and then sometimes some of the students have been doing ones in response, which has been a lot of fun. just so again, you're keeping some level of familiarity, chance to see those faces and hear those voices. I know it's gone a long way with so many of these kids. And then again, the food donation was another fun option for some of the teachers that were able to get involved with those. Is there another one here? There we go. So, oh, this is a good reminder too. So for the teachers that actually have some of the older students that have access to the app, there is a Field to Play 60 app where the kids can still be doing challenges. They can still be kind of mentally thinking through more things they can do and get involved that way too. So there's more opportunities beyond obviously what each staff and what school is able to put together. So if that's something of interest, that could be a great way to still connect with those kids and make sure the nutrition and the food reminder and good activity is still coming top of mind to those kids. And being an app form, I know can sometimes just be a fun extension of being involved with technology, but through a source that you feel comfortable with.
Sorry.
And then the last one was just those resources that you have in the food and the cooking. We've talked a little bit about that, but that's obviously part of our playbook as well as having that good nutrition. So great ways to be able to connect with the kids. What kind of food options do they have? Just like the FCCLA groups were doing too.
I got so excited that I went too fast a minute ago. But we have more trivia and prizes. I think this one is Meg. You want to take over this trivia question here?
Yes, and everyone wants to get to their chat option. So first person with a correct answer, we'd be glad to send out a prize pack. We've got some cool goodies and Field to Play 60 that we'd love to send to you for being the first person with the right answer. So this one, if you want to turn it over, the next slide, which weighs more, 8 footballs or 1 gallon of milk? You guys are on it. It's tough. 8 of something, 1 of another.
We got a lot of people think milk. We have.
Yep. Well, the correct answer is milk by over a pound, which I thought was wild. So there we go. Lots of nutrition in that one container there. Yeah.
Looks like Brenda Osman was the first to answer milk. So Brenda, congratulations. You are our second winner. Now don't fret if you haven't won yet. We still hopefully will have time for one last trivia question towards the end here. So keep your brains on and ready to answer when the time comes. All right. So you know, as we talk through, as Meg talked through, kind of those success stories that were shared with us from across the country, and you know, administrators, teachers, students staying involved with Field to Play 60. We'd love to hear from you all. I know we've kind of touched on it a little bit already, but any success that you guys have with your students, whether it's Field to Play 60 or more geared towards the new Fuel Your Good program, please share with us. We're always looking for, like I said, success stories to share out and show the great things that you all are doing. One of the, you know, a big piece to the Field to Play 60 program is being considered a touchdown school. We have resources on our website, and some of you who we visited, I believe have received kind of a hard copy of it, but there's, I believe, 3, Meg, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's 3 main steps to getting to that touchdown school status. So we're just interested to hear, again, enter in the chat box. Have any of you reached touchdown school status yet? Whether it's this year, I know it was cut short a little bit, so you might have been skimped out on reaching that, but even in years past, is that something that you all have been able to reach while teaming up with your students and community? And if so, do you have any advice for other folks on the call today about, you know, the steps that you took, maybe extra things that you did or unique things that you did to get to that touchdown school status?
The intent is certainly not to be difficult. So obviously putting your group together, putting your plan together, coming up with your physical activity play, your healthy eating play, and then doing a kickoff and having hopefully a great experience with your kiddos really involved and engaged in that process. So I understand that it used to be a longer 6-step process. You realize the 6 steps over the course of the year, I think, was a little bit more time consuming. So it was, I thought, a nice adjustment to kind of come down to 3. So very simple, actionable steps to be able to get to that level.
Cassie Brooks shared that she was able to reach that touchdown status. And I think that sounds like it's an exciting thing for her students because they're energized and, again, excited to reach that goal. And Cassie talks about keeping them motivated by keeping the energy level high, and continuing to grow through the end of that, because just because you reach touchdown status doesn't mean you can't keep working hard and feeling greatness as a team. So thank you for sharing that, Cassie, as well. And I think this is a great opportunity too, even though students aren't at school. I think that a great way to stay involved and also maybe hold themselves accountable through this whole thing is to continue to report on their dashboard through fuelup2play60.com, or if they're old enough and have a smartphone, utilizing that Fuel Up to Play 60 app, and then it's right there in their hand, and they could go jog for 10 minutes or complete one of the challenges and report it right there, and continue to earn points and move through those 4 levels of Fuel Up to Play 60 students. So one of the things that we're excited to incorporate into becoming a touchdown school, and just to really reward those who are active in the Fuel Up to Play 60 program, are obviously incentives and award prizes. So if any of you have received a grant through Fuel Up to Play 60, or have just emailed us and said, hey, we'd love for you to visit and talk more about the program, or maybe help us get through some things, we've brought prize packs before and provided those incentive items, but we'd really love your feedback, because again, this is all about you all and your students, and supporting you the best that we can. So we wanted to almost, for touchdown schools, we had an idea of having some sort of wall cling produced that you could stick on your wall, that would ask the question in a fun graphic way of, how do you and your students plan to fuel greatness this year, incorporating our Fuel Up to Play 60 logo on that as well. And another idea that we had as well, since we do work on behalf of all Indiana dairy farmers, was to provide a milk bottle that was almost, like a trophy, like, thinking about the Indianapolis 500, the winning driver gets that delicious ice cold milk at the end in that glass bottle. It's iconic, it's great, and we thought it would be a fantastic connection to us as the Dairy Association, and a trophy or award for you all to provide that as well, and show it off and be proud. So if you all wouldn't mind, again, giving us any feedback you have, if neither, and you won't hurt our feelings, if neither of these sounds like something that would be useful or helpful, or something that would seems like an award, please let us know. Again, we're open to suggestions. We can't promise anything that we can or that we can get everything that you all request, but again, this is about rewarding you and your students for the hard work that you do through Fuel Up to Play 60 on a day-to-day basis. Again, moving on to student rewards, obviously Meg and myself and the rest of our office aren't always in the schools. Meg and I are, Meg, myself, and then Michelle Plummer as well, are the ones who interact with the schools probably mostly, but we want to know what your students would like. We've been able to provide everything from, I don't know, zing ring frisbees, fun sweatbands that I feel Play 60, foam footballs. We get some Colts specific items as well, which I think are usually a big hit. But what type of small, and I don't necessarily want to think about cheap tchotchke things, but what are some maybe nicer items or small items that that you think your students would enjoy, or would make them work harder to reach that level 3 or 4 status of being a Fuel Up to Play 60 student, or reach that goal of being a student ambassador. I'm not sure, Meg, if we have anything coming through on our chat box. Cassie talks about the sling bags that we've been able to provide, and notebooks. I'm glad that the kids enjoy those. I can think back to when I was a lot younger, and a notebook might not always be the most exciting thing, but again, if you're able to kind of turn it around and turn it into something where they track their progress through Fuel Up to Play 60 within that notebook, that's a great way to utilize that as well. Prize packs with a few little items are always a hit, it sounds like. Well, please continue to share if you do think of anything. And again, if it doesn't come to you right now, right in this moment during the webinar, please feel free to reach out. Again, we're open to every idea. Can't promise everything, but we're definitely open to consideration. And again, it is all about you and your students and rewarding you in the best way possible. So we'll move right along here.
Cassie added how some Colts items would be fun too. So
Colts items as well. I know those are always a big hit. And I guess in the beginning, just a quick side note, one thing that we did not mention, if you don't already know, through our partnership with the NFL, we're partnered with the Colts, and we always have a player ambassador. And currently we're really excited about our player ambassador. It's Quentin Nelson, who's an offensive lineman for the Colts. He's, I think just got through his second season with the Colts. He's been an All-Pro both years. He's a phenomenal person, a great supporter of all things Fuel Up to Play 60 and dairy related. And if you haven't already, and you'd like a growth poster, again, I know that this school year got cut short, but in the fall we have these life-size posters of Quentin. I think he's 6'6" and 300 and some pounds. He's an enormous human being, big teddy bear, but it's a great way to have your students measure up, see where they measure up to Quentin, and then track their progress. Maybe one day they'll reach or surpass him, but just another fun thing that we have to offer. But back to the slides real quick. We talked about, or we briefly touched on funding opportunities, but currently we have our normal Fuel Up to Play 60 spring grant cycle, which is open right now and closes on April 29th. For that grant, if you don't already know, it's split between physical activity and healthy eating. So you're able to apply for up to $4,000 total, $2,000 per play, and you're able to access that grant application through your Fuel Up to Play 60 dashboard. So logging on to fueluptoplay60.com, if you haven't already, creating an account and activating yourself as a program advisor. It's not too difficult to set all that up and link to your school. But if you do have any questions, we have resources on our website, and they also have some on the national website as well. But again, if you need any help walking through that, please feel free to reach out to us. Another two grants that are considered emergency funding, again, in this time of uncertainty and kind of different occasion, the two grants are Gen Youth and No Kid Hungry. So the Gen Youth grant is also, you're also able to access that through your Fuel Up to Play 60 dashboard. You're able to apply for up to $3,000. And this is really geared towards being able to fund those in-school or feeding your students programs that are kind of happening right now. I know we've had from Michelle Plummer and Hannah Kelly's first food service webinar, a lot of the food service team members were talking about needing insulated bags or things like that to be able to transport meals to their students, or just keep them fresh and ready for them when they come pick them up. Meg, I don't know if you want to talk more to these a little bit as well.
Yes, they run a gamut. So I think, first of all, if there's needs that affect your school, please reach out to us. We would love to know. These grant opportunities are great resources and a great option to look into, but there might be ways that we can assist too. So please, if you can keep us connected, whether it's specific to Fuel Up or involved in the school nutrition side, we're glad to be here to help. We do know that there's been a lot of requests, obviously, across the state for support from the funding side. So we know that we're not sure how limited all that will be. We're not involved in the back end part of those processes, but work with them enough to have some good information coming through. So keep us posted on things that are affecting your school, or things that could most importantly be helping you through this time as we're working through this in the next coming weeks, and we're glad to be able to see how we can help.
Absolutely. And then the last opportunity there is through No Kid Hungry. You're able to apply for up to $5,000 through their grant cycle. That is not through Fuel Up 2060 dashboard, but we, when we send out this recording and our presentation as well, we will provide you with a direct link to that application as well. But again, just another way to help support you all in your efforts to keep your students happy, healthy, safe, and all things alike.
Allison, you're asking about masks. I love this. I'm guessing this is your students that have made 400 masks already for food service. That's incredible. That's phenomenal. As far as the grant for Gen Youth, they do have it where you can specify what type of category it is that you're looking for funding for. So I know they do have those additional breakouts. We've had to cut off at 800 to start. Yep, the need is huge, I'm sure. So I think that it's meant to be somewhat broad, though it is certainly focused on the school nutrition side. So I think it's fine to look at it. But again, if there's something that you think we could possibly assist with, let us know too. And we'd be glad to talk with you more. You're making just for the school nutrition staff. Yep. No, that's perfect. I know it's a lot of hands on deck right now, I'm sure. Perfect. Thanks for that, Allison.
All right. Well, as promised, we do have time, and we have our last trivia question here for the day. So get ready to answer in the chat window. Test your knowledge. Which is faster, the average time it takes to run 1 mile or the average time it takes to milk a cow? This was an interesting one. I think Meg came up with this one. I thought it was a great way to test your knowledge. I know that I am not the fastest mile runner, nor am I a fast cow milker, but we will see who guesses right. We'll give it another maybe 5-10 seconds. Meg, what do the guesses look like?
They're both sides. I'll tell you, my average mile is a little bit slower than what they said the average human's mile was, but we went ahead and went with what they consider kind of an average.
All right. Well, the correct answer is the average time it takes to milk a cow. The average time it takes to milk a cow is anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes, and the average time to that a human runs a mile is 9 to 10 minutes. So, Meg, did we have a winner there?
Yes. Yeah, we have, first one in was Brooke Harsh saying it's quicker to milk a cow. And what I love about that is traditionally, just for background knowledge, because I think trivia is always fun, is a dairy cow will get milked 2 to 3 times a day, and the rest of the time they get to spend time with their friends, rest, relax, eat, drink lots of water. So they have a lot of downtime during their day, considering if you can run a mile and be done and have a good day just to play afterwards, that'd be pretty great.
All right. Well, that brings us to our last slide here, Meg. And
so here we wanted to find out just what else we can do to be of assistance to you. So we loved having this kind of be a first chance to connect with everyone, knowing that things are certainly different right now, but if there's other ways that we can be engaged with you, we want to be. So are there more resources that are helpful to get in your hands that we could be sending over to you? Would there be interest in having a future webinar that we could go over things from a broader way? Could be a chance for you to all connect with each other, having a chance to talk to peers, I think, from other communities is really nice to do, and just kind of a nice way to kind of step away for a few minutes and connect with those that you share a lot of interest with. We could certainly focus on any parts of Fuel Up to Play 60 if that's of interest. We could go over some grant information, knowing that our grant cycle, again, like Josh said, is open through the end of the month. We'd be glad to help answer questions there, or even serve as one-off conversations too. Or is there other program support that might be of interest? So incentives, other great ways just to connect with your kiddos. Let us know. You're again welcome to share things here in the chat or even email us separately. That's perfectly fine. And I wanted to make sure there's so many resources too available that if you're not already connected with some of them, we wanted to make sure you were familiar with them. So going through Facebook, there's the Feel Up to Play 60 page. And there's a specific one for program advisors, which is really nice. Again, just to connect with people even outside of our state and see what they're doing. And obviously there's a whole backlog of ideas and pictures and videos connected to it, so you can get a good sense of those. I added our website with Winners Drink Milk and then our social channels as well. So as much as we're doing to try to stay up with things that are happening as it connects to schools, dairy nutrition, and additional resources, we're trying to stay active and on top of as much as we can to share out with the group. So a lot of good information comes through on a regular basis. So if you would keep us posted, we would really love to see how else we can help. Oh, that's good, Cassie. So Cassie likes to hear other ideas from other people about keeping their kids engaged. I agree. That's nice to reconnect.
And just to let everyone else know, I just sent out into the chat window Meg's email address as well as mine. We can provide these as well when we send out, again, the rest of the materials from today. But if you get a quick second and you wanted to jot down either of our email addresses, obviously we'll both be around and we're happy to help if you come up with questions after the fact, like Meg said, or if you'd like to share ideas or things that you've done, videos, pictures, whatever it may be, we'd be happy to share those out and be of any assistance that we can to you all.
How about that? We can even send an email out tomorrow. So if those of you have things that you wanted to share, we can make sure we include that to get to others. We can even include those touchdown steps as a reference so that you have that easy to access as well.
Before we end today, we have a few minutes here. Does anyone else have any, whether or not it relates to things that we've discussed within our webinar today, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns at all? Again, whether it's dairy related, fuel up related, school related, anything that we can help out with. And also, if you're in touch with your food service team members at your school, like Meg mentioned, Michelle Plummer and Hannah Kelly will be hosting their second food service webinar today at 3 p.m. And quick access to that, to register for that, if you go to our Facebook page, we had I think we sent out the link on a post about Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. So if you haven't registered or you know that your food service team would be happy to join, please send them to our Facebook page so that they can get to that link and register for today's webinar. Meg, did we have any other questions come through? Meg, you're muted right now.
So sorry, I've done that twice now. So Cassie is just asking if there's ways to help as far as dairy farm issues. There was a few articles that have been going out on different topics, but one most recently today in the Star was about just dumping milk. So I would say the biggest thing you can do is being able to purchase the milk and dairy products is huge. Right now, as you can imagine, as you're seeing in your schools, just the challenge with the dairy in all food supply channels is really tough right now, having to redirect from what used to be a broader landscape of being able to provide dairy to restaurants and to the schools, not just grocery. Now that everything is really so focused in grocery, it's just a challenge for those processors to meet the needs of how they want to supply their dairy products across the spectrum and other foods too. So we have been actually really active to be able to reach out to the grocery stores that have put limits on how many items you can purchase. And we're thrilled that a lot of those limitations are being lifted. So it's no longer hopefully a challenge for you to go out and get more than 2 gallons of milk at a time, which for some big families was just really hard to be able to adjust to. So I think it was a good start. So anything you can do just to help purchase is wonderful in the meantime while they're still trying to work through the chains. But there is plenty of food, there's plenty of dairy. So thankfully, we're hoping that the dumping situation won't be anything long served by any means, but you're kind to ask Cassie about that more. You're right, it is more of a processing and packaging. That's exactly right.
Well, if there is nothing else, we want to thank you again for everyone who joined today. Like Meg said, we will be sending out the slide deck and hopefully some helpful resources and links as well in an email tomorrow. We look forward to hearing from you. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are here to help in any way that we can. And if you have any questions, shoot us an email or give us a call and we'd be happy to help. So thank you all again, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thank you, everyone. Stay well.